Journal entry 324. We entered the noble's district. Many surviving nobles or staff seen trying to escape the district were captured, interrogated, and executed. I found out why this has happened. The king was a lich. Over time, he converted the other noble families into various other undead loyals to him. He had subverted higher-up members of the local churches and guilds as well. When the orc forces started winning the battles, the king started losing it and started all of this just to keep his seat of power, to keep his crown. He turned the kingdom into a land of the undead, had all his subjects killed and made into a form more loyal to him. By the time we got to the castle, the undead had formed a defensive wall. We began our attack on the castle. The Hind did an opening, strafing run on the wall of the undead, blocking the entrance with what spells the casters could put out, followed by the grenade bombardment. Then we went in. Avery unexpectedly led the charge, inspired the paladins and clerics right behind her. She did her supernova trick, though rather than the burn, the undead were physically pushed back, while the living, well, we felt like nothing could stop us, an emotional reinforcement of some kind. It helped. We tore apart the undead and pressed into the castle and began clearing it floor by floor. The first floor had a few wandering undead. The force started splitting up to cover as much of the castle as possible. Us Terrans stuck together, of course. After the first floor, we started running into the necromancers. Something I can affect. Any that we came across was dead before they could toss their first spells. I learned of their magic traps from their minds, and Jason disabled them somehow. We eventually made it to the throne room and met up with the other soldiers. The doors all had some magic force field over them. With most of our casters on the Hind, dispelling them wasn't an option, so we improvised. We called up the grenadiers to rig up a bomb. It wasn't enough to outright destroy the wall, but it shattered the stone enough that we could break through it with brute force of some of our stronger soldiers with us. Then, we flooded into the throne room. It was probably a bad idea. The King Lich was in some ceremony circle surrounded by unmoving necromancers, or maybe they were undeath clerics? Whatever. He didn't say a thing. No monologue, no death threats. He just unleashed his greatest spell and just tore us apart as fast as we could come in. All of us except the clerics and paladins. They were fighting back with their divine spells, burning him, but they were falling one at a time. I couldn't touch the mind of the Lich, but I could tear through the necromancers around him. They weren't even all there anymore. Puppets. They did have some memories. I found out where his phylactery was. His crown. The idiot was wearing it. I told Avery, but she couldn't move to act on it. And the rest of us were dead and dying. Then, just like that, the MP3 golem wandered in and started blasting Love Shack. It distracted the Lich long enough for Avery to lash out and shatter his crown with her mace. The rest of the surviving clerics and paladins pounced for the kill, but were blown back when he lit up like an evil beacon, killing his circle of necromancers. I think he had a hold of the undeath god's attention. The only thing keeping us from burning alive was Avery's own holy aura. They tossed their spells at each other. Then, Avery looked back at me and said goodbye, that it was time. The Lich shrieked and vanished except for his shadow burned in the wall. Then Avery simply vanished along with the entire roof of the castle. Our wounds were gone, the dying were alive and well, but she was gone. Journal entry 325. It's been a few days since Battle of Wolf Lake. We're still occupying the city and have been collecting the corpses and cremating them, looting any houses for surviving food or gear that the army can use. In a day or so, we're gonna march back and deal with the siege on Haybury, which is still going on. As for the Godshell, it's still here, but it has since turned to stone, possibly marble. We're gonna attempt to pull it over using the hind and some chains. It should be a spectacular, and hopefully not in the airship exploding spectacular. As for Avery, I've been avoiding the issue. I don't know what happened, but I touched her mind as she vanished. I can't explain what I saw, but she was happy. I don't know if I'll ever see her again, but I miss her.
Don't worry. We'll meet again one day. When it's time, I'll even save you a seat